Wuthering Waves is being released in about a week, and I think it's high time to release a beginner guide. My first advice, don't rush the game. I had access to closed beta test 2, and I was so excited to play through the story, but please take your time. There's a lot to unpack, and I will make sure that you don't make some of the same mistakes that I did. My next tip, use your stamina. Don't stress about clearing out your stamina every day if you want to play this game casually, but if you are trying to actually get ahead, then you're going to want to use your stamina, just like you would use your resin in Genshin. It is going to be very important, especially in the early levels, because you're going to be able to get a surplus of materials that you can actually use on your characters later. Now, 3. Where should you prioritize your stamina? You can get equipment for free, aka echoes, but you can also spend your stamina on echoes in the mid-game. Avoid this at all costs. You generally want to spend your stamina on anything but echoes. Early echo grinding is a waste, as they will be replaced as you unlock the gold variety echoes. So you'll want to focus your resources on other things that will help you out much later. Don't be like me and go on a conquest and get the echo set for 3 characters at one time and then realize that 2 days later all your efforts are completely wasted and gold echoes exist. So then you have to redo all of that farming again and go through days and days and days of re-getting echoes that you've already done while you could have been doing other things. Anyways, you'll want to spend your stamina on your level up materials, echo enhancement materials, weapon level up materials, and talent level up materials that you can actually get daily. In addition, there are character ascension materials in the world bosses that you're going to actually want to also get. You'll generally want to focus on each of these aspects equally. I don't know for sure how much materials are required per level, but when the game comes out, you'll be able to do a quick Google search to actually see that. You can also see how much you need for the next ascension and farm up to that point. This is a good way to make sure that you're ready for the next world level up. Before we talk about that though, you need to know which characters to use these materials on. Which brings me to my next point. Don't spread your resources too thin. Now look, I know it's a new game and you're excited, but it's important to not spread your resources way too thin. You will regret it later, as you may raise a character to a higher level, realize that you don't actually like them, and now you've sabotaged the progress on other characters. Or you've just raised each and every one of your characters and all of your characters are equally as weak. Now, when you get to a later level in the game, you're struggling to clear content and need to play catch up and use your stamina for days to raise those characters. My advice, early on, try as many characters as possible. In the early stages, the enemies won't be as tough, and even though you get characters later, it's important to know which ones you actually want to raise. Most of the characters are viable, but a lot of the characters are exceptional. I was adamant in the feedback about giving character trials for all characters, but early on you'll be able to test them out and see which ones you like. Hint hint, Dungeon is really good, but she does require a certain skill level with managing her HP loss mechanic. I really enjoyed Chisia and her outro nuke, and she's free, and the free healer that you get, Baiji, is wonderful as well. All of the 5 stars are good to an extent, so if you get them, then make sure to test them out, and you should be able to safely raise any of them, especially early on. I'd recommend you focus on 3 characters in the beginning, and eventually you'll want to actually raise 6 characters and leave it at that. Later on, once you get to the end game and have amassed a ton of materials, you can then focus on raising those new characters. But to get to end game, you will need 2 well-established teams. So overall, for new characters, try them out, wait for a guide, and then decide if you want to raise them. Because in the early game, it may seem like you have a ton of resources, but trust me, they will dry up, and they'll dry up fast if you're raising a ton of characters. The next tip, rerolling. Rerolling is not for everyone, and it's really not a topic that a lot of people are interested in, but there are also a ton of people who are interested in rerolling. So, how does it work? How long does it take? Is it worth it? A lot of people will say just, fuck it, we ball, and they'll just pick up whichever character that they get along the way. But there are those who actually want a desired star to make their life much easier, or they're playing for just one character, and the game just won't be enjoyable until you get that one character. I, for one, am in the camp of rerolling until I get a desired start. There are hints of a guaranteed 5-star choice banner on release, but I cannot guarantee that. They should be the standard characters that you'll actually be able to build pity towards and actually guarantee that character, but Just take it with a grain of salt for now because I can't say for sure if they are going to implement that in the live version. Now, the first character banner is going to be Ji-Yun, and he is very good. He is probably the best area of effect character in the game, and his banner is also going to have Mortefi, who is a perfect support for him, buffing heavy attacks, which is the brunt of Ji-Yun's damage, as well as offering off-field coordinated attacks. If you want to reroll until you get Ji-Yun and then save your wishes for the next banner, this is a wise choice. But you will have to create an account, go through the tutorial, and hope you get him within the first few pulls at a rate of 0.8%. So that means that on average, it'll take about 125 rerolls or 125 accounts to get a 5-star on the first pull. Good thing that we actually get way more pulls than just one, so that will at least make it significantly easier. And we've reached the pre-goal registration, so we get a guaranteed 20 free event tides or wishes, which is perfect for rerolling. If you get something in the first 20 pulls, great. If not, then restart until you do. It will require a lot of patience as the odds are low, but eventually it will happen. It took me 3 tries in Genshin, as I was very lucky, but it can take a lot longer for some people. I don't know how the rerolling process will work, or whether you will have to create a new account each time, but I for one will be doing it. It might even be great if you lose to 50-50 for a desired standard character early, and then focus on getting your guaranteed Ji-Yun directly after. The reroll process is about 20 to 40 minutes, give or take, and I don't know if you could skip all of the dialogue, but you will be able to skip some parts, speeding up the process. You will be able to wish once you get Baiji. I don't know when you'll get the pre-register rewards, but once you do get those 20 tides, you will want to wish, and I hope for the best. If you've made it this far, that means that this video is pretty good, right? Go ahead and like this video, as you'll really be helping this channel grow so that I can continue making this content for you guys. Alright, let's get back to the video. Now, the next tip, how the shop works. With wishing and re-rolling comes the shop. You get 2 currencies from wishing, these shiny corals, afterglow coral, and then the normal corals, oscillate corals. Each month you will get 6 wishes from the standard, weapon, and event banner, totaling to 18 free wishes every month. You can also get materials from the shop, but I would recommend holding off on getting these materials indefinitely. Later on, you will be able to get a ton of these from actually just wishing, so you'll amass a ton of them, but you will need about 1,260 to actually get all of the wishes from the shop each month. So I definitely recommend just saving everything early on, then later, when you have the luxury of having a ton of this, then you can focus on getting materials. Unless you're a whale. If you're a whale, you could just get everything. You're able to buy character wave bands as well, or constellations through the premium currency. For those of you whose first gacha game is Wuthering Waves, then I'll kind of explain what getting a copy for a character means. Each character gets a unique upgrade with each copy, so you'll have to check your stat menu to actually see what these characters get, but you can get a total of 6 copies to upgrade a character. So you need 7 copies total to max out a character. These upgrades are not required, so think of them as special add-ons. You can also use this premium currency to actually just get tides instead to wish for more characters. So, to put things into perspective, in order to get an on-banner character wave band, you're going to be trading 45 wishes. To get a 4-star character wave band, you're going to be trading 7 wishes. This is a pretty good deal overall if you wish to make a certain character more powerful. The standard characters are always obtainable for about 34 wishes as well. You can't just outright get these characters, but that actually makes getting constellations or wave bands fair game. This by itself is an amazing opportunity, so you can slowly get a max character through wish refunds. As I was playing the game within a 2 to 3 week period, I was able to hit pity on the event banner twice. In addition, I was able to clear out the beginner banner from all of the free standard wishes that you got. The beta did give us an extra 30 pulls, so I don't think you'll be able to clear out both the beginner banner as well as get a pity on the regular standard banner within the same period of time. But with all of that being said, how the beginner banner will work is really subject to change, so I can't really speak on it too much. But you will 100% be able to clear out either the beginner banner or get at least 1 standard pity within that time frame. So within 3 weeks of play, you'll get at least 3 characters. Or you'll get another Genshin like I did. Now, the next thing, your equipment and your echoes. A major topic that I want to address, your goal should not be getting echoes until you reach the caps required to raise your databanks. You do not want to focus on farming or leveling or unlocking substats of echoes until you max out your databanks, or at the very least, get to at least level 19. This way, you can guarantee gold echoes. You can raise them slightly, but the game is easy enough to beat without actually having to raise them. You can equip certain echoes like that, but trust me, leveling echoes is just a tremendous waste of resources. Only focus on raising echoes that are gold, indicating the highest rarity. In order to raise your capture level, you will need to capture unique echoes, so you will have to hunt for a lot of them eventually, but just don't go around raising every single one that you get. If you start getting stuck on beating monsters in the game, raise your character level first, then you can raise your weapon, and if you're still stuck, then you can raise maybe 1 to 2 echoes, but don't go maxing out a whole set. You will focus on echoes at a much later time. Now, the next tip, exploring. Marking off your map will make your life so much easier. Like most open world games, there are treasures or these cube-like things similar to the oculi in Genshin, so please mark them off. Hopefully, when the game gets released, there will be an interactive map that actually comes out so you're able to safely mark these off and not get them mixed up. There are a ton of them, and you really want to know which ones you've gotten and which ones you haven't so that you can get all of the rewards a lot easier. Later on, as your exploration does actually get more filled out, you will get a very neat treasure tracker with no cooldown. You can plop these trackers down, and it will tell you every chest within a large range, and in addition, you have 3 of them. Pretty convenient if I do say so myself. Now, the next tip. Don't rush the endgame. Now, don't try to beat the hard content too early. Now, if you're a pro gamer and you can beat Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring at the same time with a blindfold without getting hit, then go for it. But for the most part, you'll actually end up going up to these difficulties as you start raising your characters. There are things that it is the equivalent to the Spiral Abyss in Genshin called the Tower of Adversity. The first few levels are easy, sure, but the last level was extremely difficult and requires gearing up your characters. I didn't try my best to actually reach this level as I wanted to save that for the live version, but I wasn't able to clear the last level with full stars. I was able to clear it, but with some broken bones, per se. There's so much to do early on, so you really don't want this to be your focus unless you just want to get frustrated. But if you're up for the challenge, then go ahead and go for it, because it's always fun to see just how far you can get. There's also this special tacit field with insanely difficult bosses with enhanced movesets. I was able to beat up to level 2 on a few of them, but then they just go up in level and difficulty. I wasn't even able to really beat the wind boss for this because Jian is heavily resistant against. But these are the real challenge, and you'll want to make sure that you are ready to take them on. And the final tip, please everyone, control your impulses. There are a lot of things going on in a new game, so please everyone, there's going to be shiny things being thrown in your face. Control yourself and don't spend your time simping on every round or schlong long part of these characters. This is a great game, but we do not want to be known as the most horny gaming community. With that being said, Yinlin could utterly destroy my aim. I will see you all in the game on launch. I look forward to a great game that is being created by Koro Games, and I am excited to see how this will turn out. Please subscribe, as I will have a ton of Wuthering Wave content on the way. Like this video if you enjoyed it as well. Until next time, Enigma out.